Sahil, first of all, absolute pleasure having you here with us on indigomusic.com.
Hey Rohit, my pleasure to be here.
Now, Sahil, I heard your track and it is fantastic. We'll get to that in a bit. Now, you've been an animator. You're also
hmm
a singer, you're a music producer. Now,
hmm
how did you select these profession like animation and
hmm
singing? I think all of this involves art. Are you inclined towards the field of arts?
Oh yes, absolutely. First things first, I need to clarify. I'm an animation producer, not an animator.
Right.
Um, it
So
basically
for
means that I'll
people
do,
who don't know, for me, for example,
yes, of
what's the
course.
difference
Yeah.
between an animation producer and an animator?
Well, an animator actually does a lot of the design work, whether it's storyboarding, even going further back, like doing, um, sometimes animators will also do the concept art and everything. But animators are the guys who usually would take storyboards and then
Right.
turn them into animatics and animation. Those are basically the processes through which something goes from still image to being a moving image to eventually being a moving image with color and detail and stuff going into it.
Right.
Animation producers like me typically will work with animators and we'll work with animation directors, animation teams to get that done. But we tend to focus on managing the whole process, working on the writing, which is what I typically do, and all sorts of other things. It's the equivalent to like in a live action production, being someone who's working with the director, but maybe not being the director himself.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like sometimes there might be some overlap between my role and what an animation director would do, but it's usually very distinct for me that I don't do the design because simply put, I cannot draw and I have a hard time seeing certain colors. So I tend to
Right.
stay away from that aspect of it.
Right. And your let's talk about your music. You tend
Sure.
to share a lot of, I mean, it's a kind of storytelling, your musical videos and your music, in fact. How did
hmm
you start, getting into the field of music and especially storytelling through music?
Sure. Well, I mean, I started with music since I was like 4 or 5, as far as like, wanting to do it. I started singing and playing piano around that age, and I've been doing it ever since with a variety of genres. But the storytelling stuff really hit me when I was a little bit older. I was training in musical theater, and I kind of really enjoyed the fact that you can put so much story and so much theme into a song in a
Right.
way that's very different from what you'd hear from commercial like pop music and stuff like that.
Right.
And you know, while doing that training, I was doing musical theater training for my voice. I started to actually let it influence how I was doing my singing and how it was doing my and how I was doing my and how I was doing my writing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of resulted in this, kind of story driven, the word I use is cinematic rock, you know,
Right.
um, because it allows me to use a lot of the stuff I've learned from being an animation producer and writer, a lot of the stuff I've done from, training as an actor way back when I was, doing that. And certainly, all of the music stuff I've done, it allows me to kind of take all of the things I've learned and all the skill sets I have and put them in one thing that uses all of them in a very cool and unique way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, recently you have been nominated alongside the likes of Yo-Yo Ma and Paul McCartney. How
Yeah.
was it? I mean, what went through your mind and your heart when you saw your name right next to, legends like them?
I mean, before I even saw the name, I had, people I knew who saw it before me text me like, "Oh my God, congratulations, you got nominated." And I was like, "For for what are you talking about?" And
Yeah.
then like I saw it and everything, and it honestly it didn't sink in even uh, a month later. I still hadn't fully processed it because I submitted, I was working with a coworker of mine and I submitted to LA Shorts just kind of like, why not? It'll be cool to submit to that because I thought Kohima was a stellar video, and I'm so glad that it came together the way it did between like, working on the song and then working with Harmeet on the video.
Right.
Um, but LA Shorts is a really awesome and really big a really big film festival, and so I didn't really expect to get nominated. So when I did, and then when I saw who else was nominated, I was kind of speechless. I didn't know
Yes.
what to say.
I mean, you've got Paul McCartney there. I mean, like, come on, like,
Yeah,
so, and
Sir
now,
Paul McCartney. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That's so awesome. Now, your last EP, Ronin, right?
Yes.
Now
Yep.
you have come up with a follow up to that. It's a video of
Mhm.
you with your own spin
Mhm.
spin on Carnival's Umbra. Tell me about how this came about.
So, Umbra, I actually recorded the vocals for that for fun. It was the same time I recorded the vocals for the title song of my EP, Ronin.
Let me just
And
cut you off there and let me just tell you the piano in that particular video.
Hmm.
is just fabulous. It
Oh,
is,
thank you
I
so much.
really, really loved it so much, and it is just
Hmm.
fabulous. Now you can talk.
Hmm.
I just wanted to get it out there.
Well, it's a perfect segue because basically what Umbra was it was me, you know, doing a very complicated Carnival song purely out of my admiration and in how much I love Carnival. And I did Umbra because I thought it was a cool song to sing. I did not realize at the time how difficult a song it was going to be to turn into. At the time, it was just going to be piano and vocals. Because what I
Right.
did was I took the three guitar tracks, I think it was three, and the bass track, and then a little bit of influence from the drum track, but mainly those, and I put them all in one piano part. And let me tell you, that piano part is beautiful, but it is so challenging. And
Yeah.
so then what I thought to myself is, okay, cool, this sounds amazing. I recorded the vocals and I had a piano vocal track. I said, okay, cool. Now let me extrapolate the piano part and figure out how to add a string ensemble, a string quartet to it. And so you have two violins, a cello, and a upright bass. And
Right.
so that's where it all came together. It was a cool exercise in me kind of flexing my composer muscles and all of that, and trying to see exactly how I can take this incredible song, which has such a deep and powerful meaning to it, and
Right.
express the emotions of it through another style of music or through another set of instruments.
Absolutely. It is. It sounds fantastic. Let me tell you, Sahil. Now,
Thank you
what's
so much.
next from Sahil? What can we expect next?
I will have new songs coming out. I have a few new songs coming out in early 2022, leading into another EP release.
Right.
And then, of course, I also have a bunch of live recordings that I did of the first EP, Ronin, that I
Right.
actually did in Bombay at
Right.
Island City Studios. And so those will also be coming out soon. Between those and the original songs, we're figuring out when everything is going to be coming out. But I think by early 2022, probably as early as sometime in January, we'll have some stuff coming out soon.
Fantastic, fantastic. Looking forward to that. And, we'll catch up soon
Uh-huh.
again, maybe early Jan or Feb when you release your new singles and EPs and stuff like that. Fun
Awesome.
conversation. Thank you so much for connecting with me.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.